Off the coast of Virginia, the ocean floor was recently rearranged on purpose. Massive ships vacuumed up millions of tons of sand, carved shapes that looked as if a giant ice cream scoop had scraped the seabed. It wasn't a geological disaster. It was the first phase of one of the boldest and largest engineering projects in U.S. history. To understand why engineers are literally reshaping the seafloor, you have to look at the map. This is Hampton Roads, Virginia. This region is shaped by water. Two major cities, Norfolk and Hampton, face each other across a busy harbor. For decades, the main way to travel between them was the Hampton Roads Bridge Tunnel System, or HRBT, built back in the 1950s. It's basically a bridge that ducks underwater only at the ship channel, so cargo and Navy ships can pass above it. That system is now overwhelmed. At peak demand, close to 100,000 vehicles try to pass through this single crossing in a day, pushing it far beyond what it was designed to handle. The road was designed for a different era, when cars were bigger but the traffic was lighter. Today, it can regularly turn into a parking lot in the middle of the sea. But this problem goes beyond missed dinners and being late for work. It is also a national security crisis. Norfolk is home to the largest naval base on the planet. This is where the United States parks its expensive aircraft carriers and nuclear submarines. The base depends on roads. If a crisis happens, the Navy needs to move fast, and if the road is clogged, they'll get stuck in traffic. That makes the stakes incredibly high. At first, the fix sounds obvious. Too many cars? Build a bigger bridge. But Hampton Roads isn't a quiet river. Those aircraft carriers and cargo ships need a wide, unobstructed path to the ocean. A bridge becomes a low ceiling. You can't raise the bridge without blocking traffic for years, and you can't lower it without trapping the fleet. So, engineers chose the only option left: go underneath and create a unique expansion. The official price tag for this job sits at $3.8 billion. The goal is to create two new underwater tubes right next to the old ones, but the logistics here make it difficult. There's not enough land to start digging. The machine needs a dry launch pad to start the dig and a receiving pit to catch it on the other side. That's why the engineers decided to manufacture the land themselves. They brought in dredging ships that operate like floating vacuum cleaners. These vessels lower a suction head to the seafloor to inhale the seabed before pumping that mud water mix through miles of floating pipes. The output is amazing. The pipes shoot the mix up in high arcs that look like a cool, messy rainbow before it builds up on the surface. This process moved enough earth to expand the artificial islands by 15 acres, creating solid ground where there used to be open water. However, this was not just a simple vacuum job. This harbor has been a naval hub for centuries. The seabed is a graveyard of lost history. Dredging crews had to watch out for unexploded stuff hiding in the mud. We're talking about discarded explosives from centuries ago. Sucking something like that into a high-pressure pipe is a quick way to ruin the schedule. Once that new land was solid enough to stand on, the construction team needed a mechanical beast capable of eating through it. That's why they brought in a huge worm-like machine called Mary. Mary is way more than just a supergiant drill. She is a factory on wheels that stretches longer than a football field and weighs over 9 million pounds, roughly the weight of stacking 9 fully loaded jumbo jets on top of each other. At the front of the machine sits a massive cutter head, 46 feet wide, covered in steel teeth that spin to chew through the soil while the rest of the machine builds the tunnel behind it. Building a machine this large costs $70 million. And she had to be shipped from Germany in pieces just to reach the job site. But the coolest part of this machine isn't the steel. It's the human element inside it. Those cutting teeth don't last forever. Grinding through wet sand and silt wears them down, and eventually, someone has to go in and change them. You can't just crack open a hatch down there. You're deep under the harbor with tons of water and mud pressing in from every direction. Instead, crews work inside sealed, pressurized sections of the machine. Many of the tools can be reached from inside the TBM itself, but it's still tight, loud, and unforgiving. Every move has to be planned. Systems have to stay carefully controlled. The work is slow, deliberate, and tightly monitored because mistakes here are expensive and dangerous. Digging with Mary was a dangerous balancing act. The ground under the harbor isn't solid rock. It's soft, wet silt that behaves like toothpaste. This created a constant nightmare for the pilots driving the machine. If Mary pushed forward too fast, she would over-excavate, meaning she would suck in too much dirt. This creates a void underground that travels up to the surface. On land, that makes a pothole. In the ocean, it creates a massive sinkhole that could swallow the water above and flood the tunnel. But if she moved too slowly, the sheer weight of the Atlantic Ocean would crush the tunnel face inward. To stop the ocean from winning, Mary used a pressurized slurry shield to push back against the mud, keeping the tunnel face stable while her cutters chewed forward. As she advanced, robotic arms installed concrete rings behind her, turning a hole in the mud into a rigid, waterproof tube in seconds. Steering her was another headache. Mary had no windshield. The pilots were driving blind through the dark. They had to rely on lasers and computers to navigate a strict curve deep underground. They had to hit a tiny target miles away. If they drifted off course by even a few inches, the tunnel wouldn't connect, and the project would be a failure. Mary launched in 2023, and despite all the challenges, after 29 months, she made her final breakthrough in September 2025. While it feels like the finish line, it's really the end of just one phase. Boring the tunnel creates the hollow space, but crews still have to build the tunnel's nervous system. They are currently installing the roadway, power, and lighting. But the most critical piece of tech is invisible to most drivers. It's the ventilation. The biggest danger in an underwater tunnel isn't a leak, it's fire. If a car catches fire deep underground, the smoke has nowhere to go. To solve this, engineers are installing massive jet fans that look like aircraft engines strapped to the ceiling. In an emergency, these fans spin up to hurricane speeds to suck the smoke out and push fresh air in, keeping the escape routes clear. It takes all this complex tech to make an underwater tube feel like a normal drive rather than a survival mission. But the transformation isn't just happening underwater. Above the surface, crews are rebuilding miles of highway to connect the new tubes to the rest of the world. When the sand settles and the ribbon is finally cut, the landscape of Virginia will look deceptively similar. The water will still be there, the ships will still sail, but underneath the surface, the dynamic of the region will have fundamentally shifted. For the commuter, it means getting out of the traffic jam. For the Pentagon, it means the assurance that the Atlantic Fleet is never boxed in. But for the engineers, this project is a testament to something bigger. It's proof that not only we can build structures over obstacles, but we can also successfully transform the Earth to fit our needs. Engineers moved islands, vacuumed the seafloor, and bored through miles of unstable slime to create a path where nature never intended one to be. It's a fight against geology and a massive investment in national security. But in Hampton Roads, where the ocean meets the asphalt, it proves that the map is only permanent until it's time for another redraw.
That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.